welcome to this explainer, right? Let's just jump straight into it. From a very, very young age, society basically hardwires us to believe that loudness equals power, right? We're taught to constantly prove our point, counter every single piece of criticism, and keep this strict running ledger of every insult thrown our way. But today, we're exploring a fascinating breakdown of the source material that completely flips that script. As you'll see, we're going to unpack how this constant, exhausting need to prove ourselves is actually the very thing disconnecting us from our true inner power. So, I want you to ask yourself a question. When someone insults you, who actually answers? Really think about your immediate knee-jerk reactions. Someone cuts you off in traffic, or maybe a colleague makes a snide remark, and boom, you fire back instantly. But who or what is actually doing the firing in that exact moment? The source material offers a really profound answer to this by contrasting our ego with our consciousness. See, when you react immediately, that is just your ego talking, mostly because it's so easily wounded. A hasty, angry reaction. It's literally just the language of a bruised ego. But true consciousness, it never rushes. It observes, it actually understands the situation, and only then does it choose to act. It kind of makes you realize that if we had genuine inner peace, that lightning-fast defensive reflex wouldn't even exist. And this perfectly highlights the illusions we've all been sold. We think getting into a heated argument proves our strength, but the truth? Silence proves courage. Getting angry is easy. Anyone can do it. But watching your own anger rise up without reacting to it, that takes immense bravery. We are totally taught that the loudest person in the room holds all the power, but reality shows us that the most silent person is actually the most self-aware. We're out here trying to win by defeating other people, when true victory is simply knowing yourself. Now, the root of all this trouble is the constant, completely unchecked noise of the mind. We've all been there, right? Have you ever caught yourself arguing with imaginary people in the shower and somehow still losing to the shampoo bottles? Or maybe fabricating 100 crazy, catastrophic scenarios in your head just because someone replied to you with a one-word text message? That is the unchecked mind at work. It worries, it regrets, it plots. And let me tell you, this relentless internal dialogue completely drains your vital energy. So what this really boils down to is this. Most people aren't unhappy because of their external problems. They're unhappy because their mind has to provide running commentary on absolutely everything. We tend to think our enemies are our demanding bosses, our annoying neighbors, or just bad circumstances. But your absolute greatest enemy is that internal noise sitting right inside your own head, refusing to let you have a single moment of total peace. You're out there fighting internal shadows, not external foes. So where's the solution? Well, we actually don't need to look very far. We just need to take a look at nature's masterclass in silence. The entire natural world operates flawlessly, perfectly, and with just immense power, all without ever making a single loud announcement or trying to prove itself to anyone. I absolutely love this piece of imagery from the source. It says, "The river never shouts that it will reach the ocean. It just flows." Think about it. It doesn't need to post constant updates about its progress, and it certainly doesn't stop to argue with the rocks in its way. Unstoppable, natural progress is born from consistent action, not loud declarations. It's the exact same thing with a tree. A tree never announces that it's going to bear fruit. When the time comes, the fruits just appear naturally. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of patience. All the real heavy lifting work happens way beneath the surface, in complete and utter silence, down in the roots. When your own efforts are rooted in that kind of silent awareness, the results are going to naturally appear at exactly the right time. But maybe the most powerful example of all is the sun. The sun never says it came to erase the darkness. Its mere rising makes the darkness vanish. The sun doesn't try to fight the dark. It doesn't argue with it. Its silent presence is more than enough. In the same way, you don't have to fight your inner turmoil. You just have to shine the light of your own awareness right on it. Let's completely redefine what we actually mean by true silence, which is known as Maun in Eastern philosophy. We have to completely shift our understanding here. It is absolutely not a weakness. It's not about being submissive, keeping your mouth shut while you're literally boiling with anger on the inside. No, true silence is the ultimate courage to observe rather than react. It's widely considered to be the absolute jewel of an awakened mind. Okay, so how do we actually achieve this? Well, the source lays out some incredibly practical steps for mastering that inner anger. First step, actually, it's more of a what not to do. do not suppress it. Pushing it down just stores the poison in your body. Second, do not express it. Lashing out just spreads that poison to everyone else. The real magic key is the third step. Simply observe it. If you can just watch an emotion happen without judging it or acting on it, it gradually loses its grip on you. Basically, what is observed dissolves. And this leads to a really fascinating shift in how you view yourself. Think about it like a TV remote control. Every single time you immediately react to someone provoking you, you are literally handing them your remote. You become their slave. They push a button, and you perform on cue. But every single moment of mindful silence grants you your freedom back. You stop being driven by the circumstances, and you start observing them, which breaks you right out of the cage. That is step one of total self-ownership. But getting to that point requires letting go, because the sheer cost of holding on is just exhausting. We carry around so much pain, not necessarily because bad things happened, but because we absolutely refuse to put the heavy baggage down. Think about it. Someone insulted you 5 years ago. The actual event lasted maybe 10 seconds, but you've kept that insult alive in your head, carrying it around like a massive boulder on your shoulders. Life is meant to flow. Water that flows stays fresh and clean, but water that stagnates, it begins to rot. Which brings us to this really beautiful piece of advice from the text. Say goodbye to the past with respect to make room for what is to come. You have to learn to gracefully release your old failures, your old angers, and even your old relationships, because you cannot possibly grasp the beauty of what's happening right now in the present moment if your hands are still tightly gripping the past. And when you build up this kind of inner strength, you reach an incredibly powerful metric. 0. That is the exact amount of external validation you need when you truly, deeply know yourself. Think about it. If the entire world praises you, but your mind is just a restless, chaotic mess on the inside, is that praise actually worth anything? Not at all. And conversely, if the whole world criticizes you, but you have absolute, unshakable peace inside, can their words actually touch you? No way. Now, if you ever feel like you've lost that peace, and you will, we're all human, just remember this. Clouds can hide the sun, but they can never ever destroy it. In the exact same way, your thoughts can hide your consciousness, but they cannot end it. Your profound inner peace, your true nature, it is always there. Sometimes the dense smoke of passing chaotic thoughts just temporarily gets in the way. Just don't mistake the clouds for the sky. And when those clouds finally clear out, the transformation is honestly kind of amazing. You'll find your words become fewer, but their impact becomes incredibly deep. Your decisions are suddenly born from crystal clear vision, not just hasty reactive panic. The outside world remains exactly the same as it was, but your vision of it completely changes. Insults just become teachers pointing out your hidden triggers, and loneliness simply transforms into a peaceful, quiet friend. Which brings us to the ultimate philosophical goal of all of this, becoming the witness, or Sakshi. This is true mastery of the mind right here, the art of completely detached observation. You no longer sit there interrogating every passing thought, asking if it's right or wrong. You don't desperately cling to the good ones, and you don't fight the bad ones. You just sit back as the witness, and you watch them come, and you watch them go. Now, a quick warning, because there is a huge trap you need to avoid here. True silence is not just sealed lips, it is a quiet mind. Do not fall into the trap of fake silence. We all know that awful feeling when you clamp your mouth shut and nod politely, but inside your brain is screaming and throwing an absolute tantrum. That is not silence at all, my friends. That is just pure pressure. Real silence is absolute internal stillness. So I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question to chew on. Are you going to remain a slave to your own thoughts, or are you going to master silence today? Every single time you react blindly, you are handing your remote control over to the world. But every time you pause, observe, and consciously choose silence, you take your power right back. The choice, as always, is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope these insights from the source material have given you a powerful new perspective to reflect on. Catch you next time.